Hear that? Same chord, different bass note. That right there is a slash chord, and it's the sound that makes this entire song work.
I believe I might be of service.
All the Young Dudes by Mott the Hoople, written by David Bowie. It's one of the best slash chord lessons you'll ever play. It's a short song, and you get into the slash chords basically immediately. And the chord progression repeats enough that you actually hear what's happening. By the end of this video, you're gonna know what slash chords are, how to play them, and why they sound so much better than just strumming the plain chord. Hey dudes, I'm AJ Hansen with Level Up Your Guitar. Tab sheet music is in the description, private lesson link is down there too. Let's hit it. Before we play a single note of this song, let's talk about what a slash chord actually is. Because if you've ever seen something like D/C sharp in a chord chart and just played the regular D major chord, I completely understand. I did the same thing when I started playing in church. I'd see the slash and ignored whatever came after it and just played the first letter. And about 60% of the time, it was fine. The other 40%, not so much. So here's the deal. A slash chord is written as two things separated by a slash. Chord slash bass. The letter before the slash is the chord you're playing. The letter after the slash is the bass note, the lowest note in the chord. So D/C sharp means play a D major chord with C sharp as your bass note. Now sometimes that bass note is already in the chord, also known as a chord tone. The note A is in a D major chord. So D/A is a little more normal and easy to voice, but sometimes it's not a chord tone at all. C sharp, for example, is not in a standard D major chord. That's when it gets interesting, and when just ignoring the slash gets you into some pretty big trouble. So what's the good news, I hear you ask? If you've learned any power chords or bar chords, you've already mapped out the E and the A strings. You already know where those bass notes live. A slash chord isn't a new chord, it's just pointing you to a new note you've already found. One more term worth knowing is passing chord. A passing chord is a chord that exists purely to connect two other chords smoothly. It's in motion, not a destination. The slash chords in this song are functioning as passing chords. The D/C sharp, the D major/C sharp doesn't land and sit there. It passes through on its way from D major to B minor, using the bass note as the connecting thread. Not every slash chord works this way. A chord like D/A is perfectly stable and isn't going anywhere. But in this song, the slash chords are doing the passing chord job. And once you hear it that way, you'll start noticing it in a lot of songs. All right, we'll do the intro later. Let's get into the verse where the slash chords begin. Alright, so jumping into this D major right at the beginning, everything in the first two measures is going to be all down strumming. So our D major is index on the G string 2nd fret, ring finger on the B string 3rd fret, and middle finger on the high E string 2nd fret. Strum from the 4th string down, and you got your D major chord. You've probably played that before at this point. So you'll go 1 and 2 and now we're going straight into our first slash chord. And this is a stretcher, so you've been warned. So stretch that pinky to the A string 4th fret. That's the note C sharp, while we're still holding this D major chord. Now the pinky can block the open D string. That's actually preferred. So you can hear as I'm just playing this by itself, completely out of context, that doesn't sound so great. That's because it's functioning as a passing chord. Now it sounds like it makes a little more sense. Then in measure 2, we go to a B minor bar chord. So bar the 2nd fret from the A string all the way down, middle finger on the B string 3rd fret, ring and pinky will be on the D and G strings in the 4th fret. And just the same as the first measure, we'll do 1 and 2 and 4 down strums of B minor. And then we'll lift and slightly adjust down the bar finger so that the A string becomes open. So starting from the D major chord. And then a little slower. So let me demonstrate how these first 2 measures sound without the slash chords at all, and you'll hear like, whoa, those don't feel as connected. Versus putting the slash chords back in. So it completely changes the context, even though D major and B minor are related to each other. That descending bass line from D, C sharp, B, A really connects this smoothly. All right, let's continue on. Measure 3, we've got F sharp minor, so bar all 6 strings in the 2nd fret, and then ring and pinky will be on the A string and the D string in fret 4. Now here we've got a different rhythm pattern going on, but this is probably one of the most common strumming patterns where you have an 8th note and 2 16th notes, or down, down, up. And the down, up 16th notes will be muted. Then we get into the last measure where we've got A major into A sus4. So A major, you've played this before, index, middle, and ring will be in fret 2 on the D, G, and B strings. And then when we get to A sus4, you can add your pinky right here. Or if you prefer, you can kick your ring finger out. I prefer the pinky. So let me demonstrate that. So again, we continue this galloping pattern of an 8th and 2 16ths. So we've got down, down, up. And then into beat 2, we'll also do another down, down, up, but on the up, that's when we'll add the pinky for the A sus4. And let me interrupt real quick. For that F sharp chord, the muting is easy, you just have to relax all the fingers. The muting for A is a little bit trickier because we've got the 2 open strings. So what I'm doing is I'm just relaxing my fingers and they tilt down a little bit so I can mute the high E string. So that's where most of my muting's coming from. There's probably also a little bit of the heel of my hand hitting the 2 fatter strings. So that's halfway through the measure. Then we've got an up, down in beat 3. And then beat 4 is just straight down, up, 4 E and So all together. And then a little slower. So that's the entire verse. It does have a repetition in there. So let me demonstrate this all the way through 2 times, and I'll take it at a moderate tempo. So you can hear how that bass line pulls the whole chord progression forward. That's the slash chords working. If you just played D major, B minor, F sharp minor, and then A, it would sound fine, but it wouldn't have that really smooth connected feeling that these passing chords or slash chords are providing. Real quick, if you want me to walk you through songs and techniques like this one-on-one, I do private online lessons at levelupyourguitar.com. Links in the description. All right, now we're on to the pre-chorus. Let me demonstrate it. Alright, so in this section we're only going to have one slash chord. The B minor slash A does return, but then the rest of it is just either standard open position chords or a few bar chords. So the first measure of the pre-chorus, we've got E minor. I would recommend doing this with the index and middle on the A and D strings in the 2nd fret. And again, all down strumming, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we've got 1 and 2 and for the E minor. Then I would recommend adding the pinky to the B string 3rd fret for E minor 7. So it's a very subtle change, but it really helps the mood of the song. Then from there, in measure 2, we go to F sharp major, not F sharp minor, so make sure your middle finger is on the G string 3rd fret, and 1 and 2 and for F sharp major. Then we immediately go to B minor, so it's the exact same shape, just move it down 1 string. And then after 2 strums of B minor, you drop that bar finger for B minor slash A. So let me demonstrate the first 2 measures again. Then we go to G major. So same shape as F sharp major. You'll be barred in the 3rd fret all the way through, and then ring on the A string 5th fret, pinky underneath that on the D string 5th fret, and then middle finger on the G string 4th fret. 1 and 2 and for this. Then back to a stock D major chord. Now we get back into the A major to A suspended 4th, and we're going to do it 2 times in a row. Now it is the exact same rhythm as we did before, but now because this is growing into the chorus, since it's the pre-chorus, we're trying to get to the chorus, it's starting to gain more energy, so we're going to get rid of all the muting. It's still the same strumming pattern, just keep the fingers down, no muting at all. Let me do that again a little slower. So that's the entire pre-chorus. Let me demonstrate it all. No repeats for this section, and I'll take it at a little bit slower tempo. And one more time for good measure. Alright, now we're on to the chorus. Let me demonstrate this part. We're going to use a lot of the same chords, but I put them in a little bit different spots so you get a chance to see how these can function in a different position on the neck. You can use the same ones we did earlier, but you may as well learn some new chord voicings while we're here. awesome chord progression. Gosh, this is genius. It's like David Bowie's Good or something.
You don't have to be a genius to figure that out.
Okay, so like I mentioned, I moved these voicings into the A shape major bar chord. So if we've got our D major chord right here, you can see very clearly the bass note walks down from D, C sharp, 4th fret, B on the 7th fret of the E string, and then A on the 5th fret of the A string, while this D major triad, the 777, maintains all the way through. So let's check this out. So index finger will be on the A string 5th fret, and then the ring finger will cover the 3 7s on the D, G, and B strings. All down strumming, 1 and 2 and. And then we get a little bit of an awkward stretch. This may not be comfortable, so if it's not comfortable, it does take time to work on the strength and flexibility of your hand. Just don't give up, you'll be fine. D/C sharp again. Then while holding that ring finger down, now you can bring your middle finger to the E string 7th fret, and your middle finger will block the A string open. So now we've got D/B. Then you can remove the middle finger for D/A. Index will be on the low E string, 5th fret. So let me demonstrate the first 2 measures of the chorus. So you can hear how similar it is to. So if you really struggle with these A-shaped bar chords, you can move it down here. Like I said, it'll be good for you to learn how to play them and visualize them this way. All right, so after the first 2 measures, we've got our stock A minor chord. So that'll be middle finger on the D string 2nd fret, ring finger under that on the G string 2nd fret, and index finger on the B string 1st fret. Strum from the 5th string down, 1 and 2 and. And then we got to stretch the pinky to the low E string 3rd fret for A minor/G. And again, that pinky should be blocking the A string. So let me demonstrate that from the beginning again, because that A minor/G is the end of our slash chords in the chorus. Then we make it to an F major bar chord in the 1st fret. So index finger across all 6 strings in the 1st fret, middle finger on the G string 2nd fret, ring and pinky on the A and D strings 3rd fret. Then we pivot off that ring finger from F major into a stock C major chord. Ring finger on the A string 3rd fret, middle finger on the D string 2nd fret, and index finger on the B string 1st fret. So let me demonstrate again from the beginning up to that C major. Then the last measure of the chorus here switches to 3/4 time signature, which is amazingly cool. How he came up with that, I don't know, but it's brilliant. So we'll move on. We've got G major. Let's outline the chords first, then we'll talk about the rhythm. C major in the A-shaped bar chord. So 3rd fret and with the index finger on the A string, and then ring finger across the 5th fret, D, G, and B strings. So we've got G major, C major, then A major in the 5th fret. So that G major shape, just pull it up to the 5th fret. And then in between each of those bar chords, you're going to do 2 16th note muted strums. And then it resolves back to the beginning of D major, if it's repeating the chorus. And if it doesn't go back to the chorus, then it would go back to the verse with our open position D major. So let me demonstrate all of the chorus. I'll take it at a moderate tempo. I should have gone to this D major. My bad. You get it.
I'm okay now. I get it.
Real quick, if you want extra reps reading slash chords, I've got a tool for you. My sight reading website, sheetmusicgenerator.com. It has a chord reading mode with a slash chord toggle. Turn it on and it'll randomly generate slash chords for you to read and play. You can set it to chord tone only or non-chord tone only, or you can select both. You can isolate exactly the type of chord that's giving you trouble. Alright, so now we finished the chorus. So we've completed the verse, the pre-chorus, and the chorus. So we've covered all the slash chords that exist in this song. Now we will get into the one little lead part, which is the intro melody. Let's do that, but I need a different guitar for that. Movie magic. Look at that magic trick. Alright, let's hit the intro melody. I'll demonstrate it, and then we'll pick it apart. Alright, so for the intro, you're basically just going to take your D major chord and slide it up 12 frets or an octave. So you'll be in frets 14 and 15 with the index and middle, and then 15 with the ring finger. And you'll hold that down for the first 4 notes. So we'll play the strings in this order: E, B, G, E. And I left out the usual picking directions, but this will sound fine, all down picking. It kind of has a little extra oomph to it, but if you alternate pick naturally, add it in, go for it. And then we'll bring our ring finger to the 12th fret, and we're going to bend that twice with 1 pick. And then make sure you bend it up, back down, and back up, and then back down. And that resolves into the index finger on the E string, 9th fret. And then that'll go into this B minor triad. And this, you don't have to have it all stacked together at once. You can build it as you go. So that'll be index on the 10th fret of the E string, ring on the B string 12th fret, and middle on the 11th fret of the G string. Then we go back to the high E string. And then again we bring our ring finger over to the 9th fret because we need to bend it twice again. So when you do this bend, this one is just a half step bend. The previous one, the 12th fret, was a full step. This is just a half step. And then on that second time you bring it back down, as soon as you get it to neutral, you'll pick the 9th fret again. And then go to the 7th fret. Measure 3, you'll stay in 7th position here, so you'll have a finger in fret 7, 8, and 9. And we've got these 8th note triplets. So ring finger on the 9, and then you're going to walk down from 9, 8, 7, and then resolve it with the pinky on the B string 10th fret. Then the final measure, stay with the ring finger on the 9th fret of the E string, and you'll get another set of 8th note triplets. And then on beat 2, you'll play that 9 again, then jump the ring finger to fret 12 of the B string, which sets up the index finger for fret 10, and then finish with a big full step bend on the E string 12th fret with the ring finger. So let me demonstrate the entire intro slowly. So that finishes the intro melody. Once you've got the chord section solid, the melody is a nice finishing touch, or beginning touch, since it's the beginning of the song. It's also a great entry point for students who want to start getting into lead playing. It's short, melodic, and has a great set of intermediate techniques. And there you have it, All the Young Dudes by Mott the Hoople. Slash chords from top to bottom, a descending walking bass line that ties it together, and one of the most interesting chord progressions David Bowie ever wrote. I guess we should give him some credit too. If your progressions have been sounding stale lately, go study some David Bowie. There's always something in there worth stealing. If this helped you level up, hit the like button and subscribe. I drop fresh lessons every week. Sheet music is in the description. Private lesson link is down there too. For more intermediate chord and strumming songs, check out the playlist here. Keep playing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.
Okay, boys, let's go to work.
H before beauty, Coach Cheese.
Whatever.